At this very moment, while you remain trapped in the limitations of one-dimensional consciousness, unique energetic opportunities are closing. The time window for collective awakening is narrowing, and those who do not unlock their multidimensional perceptions now may become trapped in increasingly dense and limited reality loops. Jung spoke of the collective unconscious as an ocean of infinite possibilities. Hermetic mystics have always known that as above, so below, and that our mind is a reflection of cosmic architecture. But there's something this knowledge didn't tell you. You're wasting time. In today's video, we'll talk about how your mind was designed to operate in multiple dimensions simultaneously, why this access was blocked, and more importantly, how you can recover this lost ability before it's too late. Because when I say too late, I'm not speaking in a spiritual metaphor. I'm talking about an energetic reality that few understand. If you feel you've come this far through synchronicity, if something inside you recognizes the truth in these words, subscribe to the channel now and turn on notifications. This knowledge will not come to you by chance again. Like this video if you're ready to take responsibility for expanding your consciousness and stay until the end, because I will share a specific dimensional alignment technique that can transform your perception of reality. The human mind was not designed to operate only in the beta frequency of everyday reality. We are multidimensional beings compressed into a three-dimensional experience, like an ocean trying to fit into a glass. And this compression is creating internal pressure that you feel as existential anxiety, spiritual emptiness, or that constant sense that something fundamental is missing in your life. Neuroscientists have discovered that we use only a microscopic fraction of the brain's capacity. But they don't understand that this unused capacity is not inactive. It is processing information from other dimensions of reality, receiving quantum data that your three-dimensional brain cannot translate. Neville Goddard taught that imagination is God in action within us. He was describing a literal function of the multidimensional mind, our ability to access and modify the structures of reality through higher planes of consciousness. When you imagine, you are not creating fantasies. You are navigating real dimensions where possibilities exist in a potential state. But this ability is being systematically suppressed, not by external forces conspiring against you, but by something much more subtle and dangerous. Your own belief system has been programmed to reject any experience that doesn't fit the socially accepted matrix of reality. Every time you feel a deep intuition and dismiss it, you are shutting off a circuit in your multidimensional mind. Every time you have a vivid dream and wake up saying, "It was just a dream," you are rejecting information from dimensional planes where your higher self operates freely. You are literally disconnecting from yourself. Quantum physics has proven that the observer modifies the observed reality. Your multidimensional mind is that cosmic observer, capable of collapsing infinite possibilities into concrete experiences. But it can only do that when you recognize and honor its existence. The greatest enemy of your multidimensional expansion uses your own voice, your own logic, and disguises itself as protection. It is the ego, programmed to keep you safe within the limits of known reality. Every time you are about to access an expanded state of consciousness, an inner voice whispers, "This is dangerous. You might go crazy. Normal people don't do this." That is not your true voice. It is the ego's defense system trying to preserve your limited identity. Carl Jung discovered that our psyche has automatic mechanisms that reject experiences threatening the structure of the known self. He called this the resistance of the unconscious. What Jung didn't fully realize is that this resistance was artificially amplified by social programming. Since childhood, you were conditioned to distrust your expanded perception. When you saw energies, heard subtle voices, or felt presences, you were taught that it was just imagination or a childhood phase. Gradually, you learned to shut down these perceptual circuits to fit into the adult world. Fear is the fuel of these invisible enemies. Fear of being judged, fear of losing control, fear of discovering that reality is much bigger and more complex than you imagine. This fear is not irrational. It is programmed because a humanity with full access to multidimensional consciousness would be impossible to control. But the Hermetic Masters knew that recognizing these enemies is the first step to disarming them. When you identify the voice of the programmed ego, it loses its power over you. Your mind is not a single organ operating on one frequency. It is a multidimensional system with overlapping layers, each tuned to different aspects of reality. The ancients knew this architecture and called it the 7 bodies of man, or the planes of existence. Modern neuroscience is rediscovering this truth through brainwaves. Beta for waking consciousness, alpha for relaxation, theta for deep meditation, delta for sleep. But what they don't understand is that each frequency is not just a mental state. It is a dimensional doorway. When your mind operates in theta, you're not just relaxed. You're accessing the plane where time becomes fluid and synchronicities manifest. In delta, you're not just sleeping. You're navigating dimensions where your soul communicates directly with cosmic consciousness. The Kabbalists mapped this architecture in the Tree of Life. Each Sapphira represents a specific dimension of consciousness, from Mawketh, the physical realm, to Kether, the crown of divine unity. This is a literal map of your mind's dimensional structure. Alan Watts explained that ordinary consciousness is like a flashlight focusing on a small circle of light, while expanded consciousness is like the sun illuminating entire landscapes at once. Your multidimensional mind is that sun, capable of processing multiple realities simultaneously. The problem is that your education, your culture, your language, everything was designed to keep your awareness focused on the smallest possible dimension. Each dimension of your mind has a specific function. Intuition operates in the 5th dimension, where future and past meet. Creativity flows from the 6th dimension, where ideas exist as living forms. Love emanates from the 7th dimension, where separation is an illusion. Regaining access to this architecture is the return to the original design of human consciousness. Jung called meaningful coincidences synchronicities, signs of a hidden order connecting all events. The numbers 1111 keep appearing on the clock. You think of someone and they call. You dream of situations that materialize days later. These are signs that your multidimensional mind is pushing through the barriers of limited perception. But Jung was only scratching the surface of something much greater. These synchronicities are cracks in the matrix of 3-dimensional reality, revealing the underlying multidimensional structure. When you reach the breaking point, your life starts to fall apart in seemingly inexplicable ways. Old relationships dissolve. Stable careers collapse. Certainties that once felt solid reveal themselves as illusions. This is your higher soul orchestrating a controlled demolition to make room for an expanded reality. Intense existential crises, those moments when you question everything and feel like you're losing your sanity, are actually moments of highest clarity. Your multidimensional mind is trying to break through the perceptual prison you've built over decades. The Hermetic Masters taught that solve et coagula, dissolve and coagulate, is the fundamental process of transformation. First, old structures must be dissolved so that new possibilities can form. You are living this alchemical process in real time. The breaking point is also a point of choice. You can resist, try to rebuild the old walls, and return to the safety of limited unconsciousness. Or you can surrender to the process and allow your multidimensional mind to fully emerge. Those who choose resistance become trapped in loops of repetitive suffering. Those who surrender discover that, on the other side of the breaking point, there is a freedom they never imagined possible. Everything in the universe is vibration. Einstein proved that mass and energy are interchangeable. Tesla said that to understand the universe, you must think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Your multidimensional mind operates exactly in these terms. Every thought you have carries a specific vibrational signature. Thoughts of fear vibrate between 100 to 200 hertz, keeping you trapped in the densest dimensions of experience. Thoughts of unconditional love vibrate above 500 hertz, opening portals to higher realities where miracles are natural. Quantum physicists have discovered that subatomic particles respond to the observer's intention. Your multidimensional mind is that quantum observer, collapsing infinite possibilities into concrete experiences through the conscious modulation of vibrational frequency. Neville Goddard taught about the feeling of the wish fulfilled, that inner state where you feel the desired reality as if it already exists. He was describing a technique of frequency tuning. When you align your internal vibration with the frequency of a specific reality, you become a magnet for that experience. But your inner voice has a specific frequency that resonates directly with your multidimensional mind. When you learn to recognize and cultivate this inner frequency, you gain direct access to the programming codes of reality. The language of frequency doesn't use words. It uses feelings, images, and energetic sensations. That's why visualization techniques work. You are literally speaking the native language of the multidimensional mind. Now you will learn the specific technique that Hermetic initiates have guarded for millennia. It is called dimensional breathing, and it can expand your perception within minutes. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Inhale deeply while counting to 4. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Pause for 4. This is the base rhythm of cosmic breathing, aligning you with the natural frequencies of the universe. On the third breath, visualize a golden sphere in the center of your chest. Don't force the image. Allow it to emerge naturally. This sphere is your multidimensional essence manifesting in a perceptible form. With each inhale, it expands. With each exhale, it intensifies. When the golden sphere fills your entire chest, project it mentally outside your physical body, like a second body made of light. You are activating your astral body, the vehicle of multidimensional consciousness. Now, from the perspective of this light body, observe your physical body sitting in the chair. This shift in perspective is crucial. You are no longer identified with the limited physical form. You are pure consciousness observing matter. In this state, ask a question about something you need to understand in your life. Do not analyze the answer with your logical mind. Allow information to come through images or sensations. Your multidimensional mind doesn't think. It knows. Once you master this technique, try projecting multiple versions of yourself simultaneously, each exploring a different possible future. This is conscious quantum navigation. Regular practice of this technique rebuilds the neural circuits necessary for permanent dimensional access. 15 minutes a day is enough to completely transform your perception of reality within a few weeks. Remember, you are not learning something new. You are recovering a natural ability that has always been yours. Have you ever considered that you might be wasting an entire life of infinite possibilities out of fear of seeming different? That while you remain trapped in one-dimensional perception, unique opportunities for deep transformation are slipping through your fingers like sand. When you refuse to awaken your multidimensional mind, you are not just missing out on spiritual knowledge. You are losing access to higher versions of yourself that exist in parallel realities. Versions that have already overcome your fears, that have already manifested your dreams, that already live in abundance and complete fulfillment. Your multidimensional mind is the bridge that allows conscious access to these versions, enabling you to download experiences, skills, and wisdom from realities where you are already everything you wish to become. By staying closed, you are condemning all these higher versions of yourself to isolation. Carl Jung spoke of individuation as the process of integrating all the fragmented aspects of the psyche. But he didn't fully understand that these aspects are not just psychological. They are real versions of you, existing in parallel dimensions, waiting to be integrated into a unified consciousness. The price of staying closed is perpetual mediocrity. It's living as a shadow of your real potential, always feeling that something fundamental is missing but never having the courage to discover what it is. You feel this existential pain because your soul knows your true multidimensional nature. It knows you are living a microscopic fraction of what you could experience. Every day that passes without awakening is a day lost to conscious evolution. Spiritual transformation is an evolutionary necessity for those who refuse to accept a limited existence as their final destiny. We are at the convergence point of multiple timelines, where the laws that governed reality for millennia are dissolving. The acceleration you feel in time is not just perception. It is literal. Planetary frequencies are rising, creating an unprecedented evolutionary pressure. Those who do not expand their consciousness now may become trapped in increasingly dense reality loops while others ascend to higher levels of experience. Tesla predicted that a time would come when humanity would have direct access to cosmic energies. That time is now, but this window of opportunity will not remain open indefinitely. There is an energetic saturation point beyond which only already expanded consciousnesses will be able to integrate the new frequencies. You can close this video and return to the safety of limited unconsciousness, pretending you didn't hear the call. Or you can make the most courageous decision of your life, to begin today the journey back home, to the wholeness of your multidimensional nature. Start with the technique I shared. Practice daily. Watch how your reality begins to reorganize around your new frequency. And remember, you are not alone. There is an invisible network of awakened consciousnesses waiting to welcome you. If this content resonated with something deep inside you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. Comment below what your biggest insight was from watching this content. The time to awaken is now. The choice is yours.